Expose, a live play of Partners. This is our third week and our second episode. Last week we had our pilot episode of Expose, a detective show where a documentary filmmaker teams up with a gambling addict to uncover crimes across the southwest of the United States, and they solve the murder of one of the major managers of the casino who had been shot. Uh, it turned out by her own father to prove his loyalty to the local mob. And there was a dangling plot hook that we had where early on we saw that the lover of the woman who was shot, who was working as a sex worker, had one of her own clients turn up dead. Um, as we say in the rules, sometimes you'll forget to tie up everything, but then you can do the post credits clincher. Um, and so after all the credits rolled last week, we would have cut to a scene of the father being led away in cuffs and a a chief of the state police of Nevada clearing up loose ends and wondering who those mysterious detectives were who were suddenly shuffling away. And he was approached by the um, the sex worker character whose name was, I've forgotten, Carol Smith. Yeah, Carol. And she was, going on, she says, "I warned you about this place. I warned you about these guys." And then I thought, when Max turned up dead, that was a warning from them. And he just turns around and goes, "No, no, 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 no. That was a warning from me. Don't cross me again." And then we fade to black. All right.
It's very ominous.
You guys can now generate our stiff and our opening scene.
Okay, let's have a look. We draw a card, and it is the 10 of diamonds. So Stiff is a sex worker who appears as male and is struggling. And they were found dead. Oh no, their means of their mode of death was the 8 of clubs, which is a fall or collision.
Ooh, a 4. Okay.
And location. Where do we generate location from a random word?
If you look, I believe there is you each generate a random word to get the idea of the scene.
Okay. So
right.
my random word is ready.
And mine is disco. So, I mean, I imagine like a club or something.
Yep.
So less so on the rolly dicey, more on the rolly skatey.
Okay, a city roller club. Okay, so do we think that they've fallen from somewhere, or have they had a collision on the rink?
Yeah, because like I mean, like
it could have all been an accident.
That's it. It's like it could be an accident, or it could like look like an accident until you go a little deeper and think, "Oh, that's odd." Like people fall over all the time. How come it was fatal this time?
Okay, and our gentleman's name is Gerardo Berman.
All right.
Okay, now our suspects. We draw a card. It is the 10 of clubs. So we have a sibling. And it's clubs, so it's a negative relationship. It's his sister. That's a negative relationship.
Right.
Okay, so we need to learn a bit about where's our place.
Okay, the motive. If this is the murderer, the motive is jealousy.
Right.
Oh, we have to go up for what is it she does? Here, look, I can pop a card with my good old random card generator.
Not necessarily. Well, I was going to say it's the motive if they committed murder, but it's also generally the color of the relationship, or at least possibly to be revealed. As is often the case with murder mysteries, it's somehow a situation where like 5 people desperately want to murder somebody, which is just bad luck. Mary Batman.
And
just depends how much of a shit they've been.
That's right.
Okay, and I will pop a card because we've got to fill in a occupation. And I've gotten us a Queen of Clubs, which tells us the sister, who is jealous of her sex worker brother, is a politician or at least works in politics.
Well, maybe she's jealous because he gets to do whatever he wants and has no consequences. She has always been the good sister, the good sibling, and has all the exposure, all the attention. And here he is, sleeping with everything he can find at a roller disco.
Okay. So I've drawn the 4 of hearts. So that's victim's son. And positive relationship.
It's a family affair.
Yes, indeed.
Apparently. And rage is the color of the relationship.
Ooh, and I'm liking getting us our occupations. So what have we got? We have a 6 of spades. So the son, scroll, works in the service industry and is doing all right for themselves. Successful service industry.
Maybe they own the roller disco.
Yeah, because you imagine, successful in service means you're surely the owner or at least high up in it. So, yes. So, geez, there's a justification for rage if your father is propositioning people in your roller disco.
Yeah. He's trying to make it nice, and there you are, turning tricks every Saturday.
Okay, I have the 7 of diamonds, so that is the boss.
The boss, right? A pimp.
Yep. And negative relationship.
Yes.
I think we don't necessarily want to draw for the occupation there.
Yeah, I think we already know.
Unless you want.
It could be a cover occupation. That's true.
Sure.
Up to you.
That might be interesting, especially for some of these.
We have a 3 of spades, so he's well-to-do in business or finance. I wonder what business that could be.
I think as a successful businessman.
Yeah.
Okay, and the motive? It will be revenge.
Revenge. Yeah.
Okay, so the son's name is James. And the boss's name is Perry Matthews.
Perry Matthews.
All right, and for our final suspect, we have the Jack of Clubs.
Ooh. Jacks do a special thing. A
Cop
cop or fellow detective.
Which translated here,
close to the partners and is going to be a major recurring character or a special guest star.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this is someone this is another gambler that we know.
Well, hang on. Well, yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So we go someone who's like got a foot in both worlds. So it's like we're not in the police, but maybe there's someone who like has attended like recovery sessions back when Lawrence was doing those, but he actually managed to clean himself up, has joined the force, and has seen some things aren't quite the way they should be. So maybe leaks a few like ideas here and there. Does his bit to help out.
A cop in rehab.
It's nice.
Okay.
You're not supposed to talk about things that happen in rehab, but then you see them outside and doing their job.
It can be hard not to.
I think the relationship to the victim might be I think that's probably unknown at the moment.
Hang on, did we get? That is the relationship.
That is the relationship. Okay,
it's
so
not so much. Yeah, it's someone who is investigating the crime. Or as perhaps they might be. They might not necessarily be a cop. They could be someone who's investigating, but cop is fine. And then you don't need a professional field.
Yep.
Because you already have it.
Okay. And clubs will give us a female cop that is struggling. And her name shall be Sandra Gaines.
Okay, and if I tap a card for motive, I have a 9 of hearts, which is loyalty.
Loyalty. Interesting. All right. I'm thinking we should make all the music, all the episode titles based on like 70s and 80s hair rock and stuff.
I can think of no better idea than framing everything around the glory days.
Okay, would you like a random word now, Lawrence, to begin?
Because I'm starting off. Yes.
You are.
We've gone to a club. We're actually pretty chuffed with ourselves. We go for a drink, a relax after all the trials and tribulations. And I notice, or Lawrence notices, as we're approaching, there's a film crew outside who are sort of arguing with someone who works at the rink and trying to sort of push their way in. And, obviously, Jacqueline's functionally a reporter in his mind, so what better way to get exposure than to grab her and drag her onto someone else's broadcast to point out how great hers is. So that's Lawrence's idea.
Ugh. Okay. Well, it turns out that the news crew are interviewing Perry as one of the upstanding businessmen from the area, like the Chamber of Commerce, and how terrible it is that this area is going to rack and ruin, and it really is important that the police move on all the unsavory people, and then the property values will rise and everything will be fine.
Which is what's important here.
Obviously, to a businessman. but in doing this, he's basically saying, he's implying that he was here this morning. He was implying that he was at his business this morning, but it is not the case, because Jacqueline saw him on camera, walking down the street.
Yeah, and so like having been like
just in the background of the opening shot.
Yeah, he's probably cut a relatively impressive figure amidst a sea of regular people, so stands out a bit. If
Got a
he's
very
on
nice
there
hat.
on camera going, oh, I was busy at my desk, would Jacqueline like call him out on camera about?
I think she gave him the stink eye at this stage, because she's professional courtesy means that you don't, even though Lawrence might interrupt this shot, Jacqueline isn't going to.
Oh,
but if Perry was intending to give himself an alibi, he certainly has not, at least in Jacqueline's mind.
Yeah, because he's going to give it some nice, healthy, conflicting evidence to start us off on our investigation. What more could you ask for?
Exactly.
All right. Well, sorry, I've got to. There we go. So, did you now, Jacqueline, wish to pop up our next random word?
Okay, the next random word I have is register. Seems very appropriate. And our card is the Queen of Hearts. An accusation. On my upstanding businessman.
Well,
so I've decided that Perry is played by Michael. Hang on, let me get his name exactly right. Michael Beck, who was in the original movie of Xanadu, which is what this roller club is named after, and was also in the great 80s movie called Megaforce, playing Commander Dallas, and then his career kind of died. But yes,
that is
as is the way of these things. The directors have gone, yeah, we've got Michael Beck in this. You remember him from such amazing things. He was also in The Warriors. He was He was in the lead in The Warriors as well. So all the film nerds are going to check this out.
I mean, I just look into the poster and wow, that's a poster.
I imagine that one of the roller skate wheels is how we get to the camera lens of the credits.
Yep. Yep. The sudden slamming, maybe in the locker room, as a sort of slamming off camera, and then we just see the wheel going
and then into the lens.
Expose. All right. So our second scene
is an accusation levied against Perry,
or by Perry,
but
it will reveal something about the roots of his relationship with the deceased.
Well, at this stage, Jacqueline is inside the club, looking over the body as much as she can, which is basically here is the body lying just outside the roller rink itself, covered with a sheet. And she's very confused, because it seems as though they haven't opened the register for the day, and it's getting towards. I mean, it's a Saturday, and so there should be a trickle of people wanting to come in and skate. And strange, here's Perry. This isn't one of his businesses.
No.
What's going on?
I suppose, like, cause yeah, like I mean, he'd stand out. Like, hasn't come dressed to skate. Hasn't like.
No, his trousers have the creases in his trousers are way too sharp.
Yeah, he's very clearly all business at the moment.
There is something very strange about him. If only we could, if only we had a cause to point to rattle his cage and see what fell out.
Well, luckily, Lawrence has a brilliant idea. So, because everyone's sort of distracted looking at the body, which means he has a chance to sneak off and get behind the DJ station that I assume must be present. And so he's flicking through, ducking down to find the best song he can pick to set the scene. He comes across, of course, the only right song to play at the scene of a murder, "Staying Alive," which he will put on, and he's going to start watching everyone for signs of who can get involved, who's, can't resist, the beat a little. People, even if they're not over near the body, if they're doing what they should be doing, people should bop along. But Barry just doesn't seem into music. Clearly, he does not belong. And Lawrence, with his tact and immeasurable grace, saddle on up to him and say, "Mr. Business, I don't think you belong here. What the hell are you doing? You haven't come to disco. You don't belong with these people. You were just outside about, what the hell brings you here?" Question the very validity of his presence.
I imagine Perry says something along the lines of that he's looking for his employee who didn't turn up for work today.
What? His employee who didn't work today? It's a Saturday. Who works on a Saturday, man? Get some sense into you. Who could you possibly be speaking about? Won't quite connect the dots straight away.
No.
He's talking about the body. But I suppose, maybe when challenged about it, maybe Perry gives a quick glance over to the body when avoiding directly saying who he's talking about. But maybe a more eagle-eyed investigator might catch a hint of what's going on there. Maybe start connecting some dots.
You can always come back to it and circle around to what you later in the scene go, "Oh, that's why he didn't fit in," when we have a little bit more evidence.
Sure.
There's rules in in one of the books we're working on about having just more mystery, where you just sort of set up the clues and then go, "We'll explain that in the later half of the episode." We just have weird stuff, and then the audience is like, meaningful.
Okay, so for a new scene, it's up me. So I have the word package, and I have drawn a 10 of spades. So there's a tip or informant.
Okay.
Sandra, our police friends.
10 of spades, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
So, tip or informant, and our word is package, and it's coming from our friend on the force. How convenient. So, I suppose in the like hubbub of Perry trying to dodge this like sort of out of nowhere set of accusations from the stark raving madman before him, our friend on the force might sneak on in and sort of get a look and try and make her way over to say, hey, look, maybe there's something I've seen or catch on to. And she's carrying, something like even as simple as like, it's a Saturday. Maybe she's just got a lunch and she's ducking in off the clock just to help out. But Lawrence is incapable of just seeing, someone pop up. Will immediately shift gears in the conversation. Perry bores him now. And he will storm towards her, saying, Sandra, God, I haven't seen you since... Jeez. I haven't seen you since I was last in rehab. How are you doing? You've brought a packed lunch from me? I know we go back, but truly you shouldn't have.
And
She's
Sandra gives Lawrence a very strange look and says, "Oh, well, I'm not here for you. I'm here to meet Gerardo."
Oh.
And that's him.
Well, I mean, I guess
I mean, not that it's not nice to see you.
No, of course, no, and I understand. Obviously, you've got things to do and places to be.
Are you still stirring up trouble?
No, I've certainly cleaned up my act.
I remember you. Do you remember that time you swapped the tea and the coffee at the meeting? Everyone trying to substitute caffeine for their other issues was disappointed that day.
Yes, they were. But it's certainly one of the better days we had. But I mean, if that's your if that's your friend over there,
she makes sure no one can see and shows Lawrence a 6-month coin.
I'm proud of you. Hey, 6 months is a long time, You've done good. But I shouldn't keep you. Can I help you find your friend?
It's too late. He's already gone.
Oh.
No.
Oh, is he the one over there? Oh. Suppose he won't be needing to pack lunch then.
I'll just have to. Well, yes. I guess I'll just have to find another way. Nice seeing you.
Of course. Thanks for swinging by.
Oh, so he was her informant. Is that what we're saying?
Perhaps.
So yeah,
that's the
implication. Yep.
That's the implication. Yes.
Our interim scene.
All right.
Okay. Interim scene.
You're looking for page 67.
There we go.
And it's whether you want to have a B plot or not, is the question.
I think a B plot might be interesting.
So
Yeah.
first thing you have to do is choose which one of you wants to be in charge, wants to be the sort of main character of the B plot, which you can do maybe drawing high-low or something, or black-red.
I think it might be interesting for Lawrence to be the.
Yeah, well, we just
Yeah,
had a
Lawrence,
connection
just-
from his life. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
maybe that's the way in.
Page 68 is who does Lawrence have a problem with?
Okay.
All right, draw a
let's
card,
see.
Lawrence.
Bam. We have a 2 of spades.
Right, so that's the straight shooter. So in the first staging scene, you're establishing the surface problem between the two of you. If the problem will not be seen clearly, it is seen through connections to other characters, to other people in the scene, or to something else in the background. It could be that one of the smaller, minor characters or the suspect has spiked an issue that is cover for the real issue. Unable to directly approach the problem, instead the main character directs their frustration outwards at the wrong character, which may make the problem more critical. So,
yeah, I guess like, so Lawrence was, bumped into someone he'd known before, was looking to, have a good chat and sort of get some connection out of Sanja, but obviously she had things to do and other places to go. So he was kind of feeling like shafted a little, and sort of he's always throwing himself into whatever's going on, but never really feels like he's part of it. Whereas, like, Jacqueline's off to the side and she's watching things and she'll record things, which always means she's part of it. But, like, how is it so effortless for her? So maybe he'll just, like, just sort of get in the way of a few shots and sort of pass it off as an accident every time, but just keep walking a little too close to the camera just to sort of block out something that might be interesting.
Do you mind? I'm trying to get a nice shot of the light as the light coming off the wood here.
Well, I mean, you can get in close. I've just, I'm looking for. And like we just, everyone's got an important part to play. Yeah, let's not diminish anyone's role.
Oh, what role are you playing? I'm working.
I'm helping.
You're really
energetically.
Not. I can agree with the energetic part.
He'll storm off. He's a bit perturbed at this, and sulk in the corner for a bit. We have there's our people. We're not loved enough.
right.
Okay.
First ad break and on to Act 2.
Okay.
And we start with.
We have a 10 of diamonds. So that is a tip from James the Son, or a tip about him. All right.
And what is your random word for the scene?
My random word is global. Okay. Jack would really wants to get some reaction footage from the manager here. Obviously, it's shocking to have a dead body in your rink, or to have someone end up dead, and yet the manager is being very evasive here. I mean, is it to do with is he not insured properly? Is he worried they're going to sue? He doesn't want to be caught on tape expressing regret. Jack's introduced herself, and he's finding lots of ways to be busy and out of her way in a way that Lawrence just isn't.
No, well, yeah, he's not. He won't, like, because to him it's like it's all like dodging and wasting time, and he hasn't really got the patience for it. I guess so. He's off like looking around, trying to find, anything, and maybe there's one of the like staff for the ring who's sort of off to the side, and she's a bit distressed having been in the building when this horrible thing happened. So he figures, well, maybe she's saying something, maybe she's got something more useful to say, more useful to do than boring old manager guy who doesn't want to answer any questions. He'll approach her and sort of start checking up, check she's all right, and slip in a few interrogatory questions, try and find out, what did she see, what happened. And she's not sure. She's not sure she can, say much. It was all. She's not sure she can, say much. But she finds something odd, which he's interested in. He points out that she points out that normally every week on a Friday night, because they expect Saturday to be quiet, a maintenance guy comes to fix all the like bolts and whatever the things that keep the wheels on roller skates are. Always comes around every single time. But she actually remembers being told by James not to call him in this week. And just because there was an accident, she feels a bit responsible for what happened.
Mysterious.
Which Lawrence thinks is pretty cool. He's figured something out. Can't wait to rub that one in later.
Nice.
Okay.
Now we have a 3 of diamonds, which is
James again.
James again, and it's fingerprints or DNA. And our random word is graphic. Okay, so so we've got it's a disco ring. There's like promotional posters up everywhere, and Lawrence has sort of been focused on the people, but now that he's got what he wants to strut back over and show it off. But he notices, on the posters on the wall, they've got like James, obviously, as you'd expect. He's faces look a bit familiar. Like look a lot like him. There's a man and a woman in those pictures, so it's 3 people. And they all have like similar sort of features. Like there's some form of connection between them. So maybe he's gonna pull one down, and he wants to drag it over to James while he's finishing up speaking with Jackie, and sort of question it, because it seems a bit odd to have like If they're using like Photoshop to make everyone look like him, but that's a bit creepy.
And I imagine that Jacqueline's a little bit better at interpreting these things, and pops the poster down in front of James and says, "This is you, isn't it? A while back."
Which he's still like with a camera around, not keen to admit to anything he can, but he quietly will nod and sort of hint at it. Yeah.
And this is the deceased. And who's this?
But just another member of the family.
Memories of happier times, perhaps.
Oh, yes, definitely happier times.
Perhaps you could tell me a little bit about how long the rink's been in the family and what you remember from the old days. I understand it was your grandfather who first opened it.
And like leaning onto something a little more easy to promote. He perks up a little and he can go on saying, yep, being a grandfather is onto him when he felt it was time. But like it's all stayed close to everyone in the family. Even when they move away, they always stay close to it. Whether they're needed or not.
Okay, do we think we've landed that one?
I think so, because we'd be clever with our DNA, or it doesn't have to be real DNA, but we know it's in the family. Ho, 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 ho. Look at us thinking outside the box.
Okay, the next word is deadly.
Ooh.
And it's we're getting a lot of 10s this time. Another tip.
Everyone's telling on everyone.
And it is a heart, so it's Perry.
Ooh, Perry.
That's the poison.
Right. So.
All right.
And his motive is revenge. So what revenge is Perry all about?
Well, Jacqueline starts.
Here we go.
Starts ringing it. She's suspicious of Perry. Anyone who sounds as smooth as he does and wants to be on camera just doesn't seem right. So she starts making a few calls, Chamber of Commerce, other contacts in the town, to see if she can find anyone who is willing to either know something bad or is willing to say something bad. This isn't on camera, but it's useful background. And she just can't find anyone. Maybe it's that she doesn't know these people well enough, or who knows. Then she hangs up with a sigh.
Lawrence has decided that what he wants to do is get a closer look at the accident site, where Perry's not standing particularly close to, but close enough that Lawrence can overhear. And as he's sort of trying to get a look, he managed to catch just like the hint of a name, which he's pretty sure he hears the name Mary, which he's not quite sure who that might be. till he looks closer at the poster he's still holding and sees down the bottom that it's got the names of James and Mary and Gerardo. And so maybe there's some kind of connection, he's thinking. Maybe she knows more about what's happened here. If only there was some way to get at her. Now, a smart person might think, well, okay, if she's got a connection to James, he would be the right person to ask. But Lawrence has none of that sense. So his plan is instead he's going to walk right up to Perry while he's, trying to quietly speak on the phone and attempt to grab the phone and hang up, give the phone back and walk away. Quickly, because Perry doesn't look thrilled.
I imagine that Perry is going to come in very close into Lawrence's personal space. What's the big idea, pal?
Hey. Nothing up, just, I noticed, I think this lady you're talking to might just happen to be our poster friend here, and maybe they should be here, Bring everyone back together, get to the bottom of things. I'm just trying to help, as no doubt you are. Perry, mister, hasn't noticed there's cameras on still. Know what I mean?
He eyes the camera, which Jacqueline is. The little red light is obviously on. and it's just that thing where you kind of smooth down someone's lapels for them.
Yep. That's what I thought.
Keep your nose out of my business.
Oh, of course. Wouldn't dream of anything else, friend. Lawrence will blow him a kiss and walk off.
Nice.
Okay. Ooh, we have B plot scene 2.
So this is the roots of Lawrence's problem. In this scene, we realize that it wasn't just an argument about blocking shots and who's helping. There's something that's niggling at the main character, and they will create some sort of solution to this problem that is wrong-headed and doesn't really solve the problem. In fact, it usually makes things worse and escalates the problem.
All right, so Lawrence will approach Jacqueline while she's, still filming and still trying to keep an eye on things, and point out that he's pretty sure he's figured, this family connection out. Perry's trying to talk to this Mary lady, and there's a Mary on the poster, so clearly, how many people called Mary can there be in town? It's obviously connections right there. Mary with Gerardo, who's dead, and James's thing, so they're all connected. Sure, the names don't connect, but they all kind of look the same. So either it's a heck of a coincidence, or
You're breaking up a bit.
Camera and sorry, the cat literally just sat on top of the router. Oh, cat, please don't. Cat.
That's one for the outtakes.
It's definitely it's warm. That's why the cat's there.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. So there we go. Back to Green Connection. So yeah, he's basically going on at length, trying to explain he reckons everyone's related and that Perry's got an in with the family one way or another. He doesn't trust any of them, and he reckons this post is the key of it all. And she's busy recording all the people walking around, but he's on to something. Maybe she needs to I don't know, turn the camera this way and sort of get the solution as it comes.
So you're grabbing the camera and moving it where you think it should go.
Yeah, because he's put the poster on a table, propped it up poorly, no doubt asleep. But he's like, look at this. Get the camera over here. This is the key to everything.
I've already got that shot.
But did you zoom in on it and really look at it?
That's not how you do that. If we'll do that as a separate shot on a table, not just a wobbly zoom in.
Look,
not with a dumbass like you hanging around.
Which that hurts. And you film it, you take all your dry nonsensey shots, from what you're doing, That's why you need a quote unquote dumb ass like me. You gotta have zazz to have any movie. What's
a documentary is not a movie.
What, so you're saying you make a better documentary with no zazz?
You can't have zazz in every shot, Lawrence.
So he's a bit hard, his great ideas are crashing upon the sea of actual talent, and he's not taking it very well. If she's got some menial task she can throw to him to try and placate his wounded soul.
She throws him a memory card. Says, "Get this to the van, and get us some lunch."
Harsh.
Which he'll do, but he'll mutter to himself about how cruel and unfair it is, and not. I'll teach her a thing or two about film direction.
Very nice.
Princess. Oh dear. Okay. I need to.
Scene 7.
What is ostracize?
Oh, that's a good word.
That is a good word. And we have a Jack of Spades.
Another body.
Oh,
another body. Oh no. Again.
Yeah. And Spades is the cop, Sandra.
Yes.
Sorry. No, yeah.
Okay.
Another body.
It might end up only being tangentially related, the body, but you never know.
Yeah, but
could be also deep in the history. It looks like, Sandra killed a guy when she was on duty, and they said it was an accident, and she was all, the police investigated themselves and decided that they were innocent.
Yeah, I suppose, so maybe, we see that Sandra's been hanging around still. She said she had to go, but she's keeping an eye on things, and Lawrence saddles on up again. Because he remembers, again, in rehab, you tell stories that don't get shared otherwise, and maybe the reason that, she ended up in, getting an addiction to gambling amongst other things and ending up in rehab was, she was responsible for what was deemed an accident that ended up, getting somebody killed. And she ended up basically trying to kick herself off the force because she didn't think she was worth being a police officer anymore. But with rehab and care and support, she sort of learned up be familiar which Lawrence will discover by very loudly discussing the deeply traumatic incident that led her down a dark path in the first place, as he's wont to do.
Is this happening in the street while he's on the way to the?
Because he's gone out and has noticed she's like hanging around outside the building, as bumped into her as he's returning with lunch, and so it just strikes up a conversation about like, oh, I seem to remember like you telling the story of the horrible time where in a chase someone had a slip and a fall that ended horribly, but like they shouldn't have, and it was in a place where it doesn't really happen. Just like, sounds kind of familiar to me, Sandra. You know what I mean? Like, I've been working on connecting dots a lot more lately. Because like you're just hanging around, Is this like stirring up some like deep horrible memories in you? Stuff you fought hard to repress for years that like clearly isn't working great.
And Sandra just looks, that she's got that 1,000-yard stare going on. And she just says, I never should have started talking to you. Don't try to contact me again.
That's fair.
And turns and walks away.
But it does. Way, it might give her a second to stop and think herself. Right? Ooh. Stop and think herself, Maybe he is, like, not entirely wrong. Maybe there was some kind of connection between these events. Maybe she's not as responsible as she thought she was once. Give her some time to reflect. Our recurring character.
All right. James's poison is next.
Okay, so the alibi is failing, and our keyword is justify. So, the ME has come now and removed the body, and presumably the crime scene people are now there taking photos and doing their work. Jack can overhear the police talking to James and asking him, first they say they're sorry for his loss, and it's curious. Okay, so his father has died there. That's just odd. And
I suppose if he's not like, not showing quite the normal level of emotional reaction you would expect from someone's father dying in their own establishment.
And so the police are asking him where he was at such and such time early this morning, and he's saying that someone else unlocked and he only arrived afterwards, and so forth.
So he's saying I had girl over there come in and sort of open up, let people in,
and that just it just sounds strange because James strikes Jacqueline as it's a family business, and he's quite protective of it, and she can't imagine that even on a Saturday that he would not be the one to open up.
Yeah, like if it's part of the family tradition is that it does open the door.
Yep.
And then the one day something goes wrong, nobody did. I suppose if Lawrence is bursting in now with
I think it's
lunch,
up to Lawrence to
he's,
break the alibi.
Yeah, as he's coming through, he's got the lunch, and the girl that James has hinted was nearby enough to overhear she's being spoken about. She'd opened up to Lawrence a bit before, so we'll sort of look at him and just give a small little shake of her head just to say, like, no, it's not really. Like, she's not brave enough to step forward and say anything, but she will subtly hint. To which Lawrence will burst into the conversation with the between the investigator. There was
I think he's probably dragging the poor girl behind him.
People, bring her up, saying, like, you're saying this girl, was the one who opened up, please. She could barely even open up to me when she was distraught over in the corner. I don't think this girl could open anything if her life depended on it. She was telling me that you're cancelling people who are, supposed to fix wheels, and then all of a sudden her on her place. Buddy, I don't believe a word of it. Which he's now got to explain. Oh, that was cancelled because we haven't had as many people in lately, and then the repairs are costly, so we were definitely moving to bi-weekly. There was a memo, like anyone could check the inbox. There's a memo there. I haven't got on me right now, but it's in there. You can see, like, it's it was just normal business. I was just running a bit late. That's what, like, you can't like just come in here and make a bunch of wild accusations not knowing anything. Like, you don't know how hard it is to run a business like this when you've got all kinds of people coming in and wrecking up the place. And he's
all kinds of people. Yeah.
All kinds of people. Wink, wink. So the story he was telling falls apart rapidly under a bit of duress and hurling his staff at him.
An angry young man. All right, we are got a lot of powerful motives.
7 of diamonds. Do. A dirty laundry or a dark secret.
Well, yep, perfect.
For James.
All right, so this is going to be the fruit. That doesn't mean he couldn't have done it. It just means we find out. Like, this is the bit where it's like he was loading bullets into the gun, or he was definitely there at the scene, but we can still always have someone else have done it. It means that there was a plan of some sort of action, or a very near miss. We know something that James's rage was leading to.
Yeah, so I guess, like, as he's, like, standing there, like, he's in, like, not like a suit, but in, like, a full, like, long sleeves and stuff covering up, but he's gesticulating as he's trying to sort of defend his rapidly crumbling alibi. And Lawrence will reach out and grab one of his arms and roll up the sleeve and show that he's actually got, like, relatively fresh bandaging on his arm that like, well, could have been from anything, but it looks like a pretty nasty one. That maybe he's fallen or been knocked over or crashed into something, and hurt himself in doing so. But like, I mean, that could just be why he didn't come in the morning. Maybe he really was late because he'd hurt himself. It could be anything, or maybe it could be related to the horrible accident that dealt with our person.
Jacqueline zooms in on the injury and says, "Take off the bandage."
Which
I have to do that. You're not police.
You're right, you don't have to, but I do. Lawrence will begin reefing the bandage off him as hard as he can.
Okay, so he reaches out his arm, but that just makes it worse. Lawrence is running away, and it's kind of undoing like a streamer when you pull it out the center.
Oh, and there's a bruise that's like exactly the shape of like roller skate.
Yeah, like literally like the two sets of like wheel marks in it and a burn down it, a friction burn. So we know, James, he may not have like done the deed, but he was involved in the accident in one way or another. Dun dun dun.
All right. The interim scene poison. Our main character Lawrence brings his sort of his peak to a peak. The plans or decisions that are made that in previous scenes are brought to fruition. A striking out is made. Someone. The main character expresses their wrongness and their rage and their anger, and it is exposing and witnessed in front of everyone. But in this lowest point, they realize that they've made a mistake and maybe how to fix it.
Yeah, so like he's grabbed and run away with the bandage, and obviously all the focus is on James and sort of people interrogating on that, which isn't actually what he was wanting, because like he was the one running off with it. He did the big thing. He's again feeling like it doesn't matter like how hard he tries, he's always left out of what's going on. So he's realized that really like the best way he can sort of make it clear and well, no one's looking and he's off, he's going to run into one of the back rooms and he's going to find like a pair of roller skates and he's going to like crash his arm into one of them as hard as he can. Go out then, as you go, see, look, Jackie, like, genius idea. Bring the camera over here. I hit myself as hard as I can and notice that I have completely different bruising and none of the burning. He can't claim it was just a regular, no matter what he says. I'm telling you, like, he's not telling the whole story here, because that's no regular roller skating injury, as I can very clearly demonstrate here in the arm that's starting to swell a bit and is not working as well as it should. And having the camera even potentially turned on at this moment makes him realize, oh, okay, maybe not the best way of proving a point.
Jacqueline turns off the camera and just lets it down on her hip and says, "You dumbass." Get that.
Which has
get some ointment on that.
Times.
Come here, and she pulls down the first aid kit.
And he'll go and he'll get himself like cleaned up a bit and start to realize that like when he's like going intentionally overboard, he's been less helpful than when he's like still weird, but at least like with a So maybe stuff like, maybe it isn't actually about like making him the focus of what's happening. Maybe he can like contribute in ways that are more helpful to the people rather than to the like film, and in that way, maybe he gets his just desserts that way, which he definitely doesn't mean literally.
Okay.
All right.
The next one is the Four of Clubs.
All of a sudden, Mary shows up.
It's about time.
Yeah, I've had this happen a lot though. So they often bring like the final clue. Someone shows up in the final act and goes, and they explain some of these other branches and stuff. Why is James so goddamn angry? Maybe this will tell us.
Poor.
Oh yes. There's a Miss Marple. I know there's a Poirot where he sends off to Scotland and comes back with a certificate, with a wedding certificate that proves bigamy, and that unlocks the whole case. Yep.
Yeah. And there's the one about what happens on the train. They Miss Marple sends off to find like the old ballet instructor or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she just shows up and goes, "Yes, I am this person. I can explain this part of the plot," which just leaves, all those, that ties up all those ends and leaves a gap for the final solution to come. Yeah. All right, so Jack's leading off.
Okay. Mary comes into the club, and it's quite obvious who she is. Like, it's not that the years haven't been kind to her. It's more that she looks exactly the same. She must have had work done.
Yeah.
And she comes over to the police that are there, and kind of perfect teeth, gives them a smile, and they obviously know who she is. They're shaking her hand and treating her with a good deal of deference. But
which
Jack,
and Lawrence recognizes her from the poster.
Jack picks up the roller skate that Lawrence was trying to injure himself with, and says, and then she goes to over as if to shake Mary's hand, because she's obviously doing some glad palming, I think you'd call it. Shake as many people's hands as possible, and puts the roller skate into her hand. And she tries to give it back, saying, "Oh no, I don't do this anymore."
Yeah, which is the
Jack's
big aha moment.
Bit deflated. What can Lawrence do to push the point?
So he's jumping in and going, "Well, I mean, like, no, like, Jack, show the woman the deference she deserves. This isn't just some like random lady off the street. This is the lady from the posters. Like my apologies. You just what use have you for one skate? I apologize for my friend here.
We see
you need to.
we get a shot to outside the another part of the town where there's a vote battle, she'll battle for you, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So not just the posters in the club, but the posters outside the club as well.
Yeah. So yeah, he's saying, like, it's you can't skate with just one. It's a hard time. You've lost one of the people close to you. But I have a second skate the pair for the first time. Not a madman to carry one skate around. you know, remembering what's down, power of which she will again gratefully deny, but she's actually looking a bit emotional. Pointing out, like, yeah, it was important to her once, but that's been a while.
Indeed.
Okay. Our word is prize. And our card is a Queen of Hearts. Scroll.
So it's an accusation by or towards Perry.
Perry screams back in. And this is his fruit. And he was revenge. He still time, but largely slunk off to the sidelines. But seeing Mary come in and having been sort of speak to on the side to try and sort some things out, he sees the moment to, I guess, push some steam off, some like heat off himself, jump in on sort of the people pointing at the marks on James's arm, and so I'll say, yeah, like, look at this. It very clearly proves this madman had something to do with, the death of a employee and close friend of mine. Like, officers, arrest this man and drag him away before, he kills again. Very melodramatic and sort of inciting everyone to act as far away from him as possible. To which, James has to defend himself a little.
I think at this point, Mary's going to lose her cool and basically say, these people might not know who you are, but I know who you are. I don't try and get in my good books. You're everything that's wrong with this town. You're nothing but a fleshmonger.
Oof. Yikes, that's rough. Jeez.
So she flips over the accusation.
Nice.
Which, brilliant. And he's, well, because no one's suddenly doing what he's asked for, so he's a little concerned and being called out by Mary, who's one of the well-known people in town. So he sort of will take a step back and sort of, try and save a bit of face and say, like, you abandoned everyone here, like, you don't know what's going on, you didn't know what the people here have been through. You go live in, like, the high rise and look down on everyone who works hard with the people in the street, and sort of and more and more into it is sort of dropping the pretenses that, at least because he's been here the whole time, Perry's been using to sort of coast around and shift dispersions away from himself. But
on screen, we haven't actually talked about Gerardo's work at all, so this kind of starts it all.
No, we don't know what's going on, but it starts.
It starts all unraveling.
Yeah.
Yes. And so,
this
wasn't
maybe just a roller rink. It was a brothel.
Oh.
It was the biggest flesh pot in Nevada.
Well, I wonder whether that's the this is the place. This is the one place that Gerardo can come and be relatively free of Perry.
Yeah, like somewhere that he's
like,
always
whether
had to
he's
keep
whether
away from.
he's soliciting here. I don't know, but certainly this is the place where if he goes, Perry can't touch him.
Right. Maybe that's what the revenge is about. Like, how dare you try to be legit and be a normal person when you belong to me.
We shall see.
All right.
All right.
Last scene.
Okay, our card is the Ace of Spades,
which is the poison for Sandra, but that means Perry is our.
Or it could be. With James has also had the fruit.
No, it's the most recent fruit.
It's the most recent fruit. Okay.
Who is unless you want to randomize it, you can.
No. I think that's actually quite good.
Yeah. It means that it's the most closest to the conclusion.
All right. And our random word is direction.
So who did Sandra beat up and why was that a red herring? Or kill, actually. Throw down some stairs and kill or something.
Yeah, I mean, like... Direction. Or to your phone records.
I think that at this point we need to establish. Jack thinks we need to establish who knew Gerardo was here. So she wants to check the phones of everyone in the room to see who's had incoming calls around the time of the murder.
Yeah, which I mean, like, Lawrence is more than happy to start like taking phones off people, protestation aside. He feels
I think
pretty invulnerable with that camera on him.
I'm picturing Lawrence just getting a whole load of phones and just sitting there trying to dial up. Guess the passcode of everyone.
Was it like they get a bit lucky, and because obviously like Gerardo would have had his phone taken away into evidence, but like the police get into enough, like say, oh look, if you're looking at this kind of information, here's some numbers that we've
well
had a look at.
There's this weird trope that gets used a lot in crime drama where even if the phone is evidence and it's in an evidence bag, you're still somehow allowed to manipulate it through the bag. Even though you could do a whole lot of tampering with that. So I think we do this, that Lawrence goes around and grabs up a whole load of phones, and then when he looks down, he realizes one of the phones is in an evidence bag.
Wait, because he doesn't even need to like unlock it, because like if he taps it and opens it and sees Sandra's name, and maybe once upon a time like they were friendly enough that he might have like known number and at least kind of recognizes it, and it's like, okay, like hang on a second, all right, who owns this phone, and why are you talking to my like one of my best friends in the whole world? Like maybe germs are a thing, I don't know why it's in a bag, but you let me open it up and see if it's got.
This is a very and the police like
But so we know like she was trying to get in touch with him, and the text is maybe saying like, look out, like I don't know like who, but someone in like your close circles is coming for you, like they know too much. And maybe that's like where I out.
Okay, so maybe this is the poison of Sandra's feeling responsible for a death on duty. She's going to extra lengths to protect her sources.
Yeah, because like she knew that there was something coming for him, and was like, even though it risks getting herself caught and in trouble, she's gone, nah, the important thing is making sure like it doesn't happen again. I'm not responsible for this again. And was trying to warn him that someone was coming for him. And we think we know who.
So I think that the way this unfolded was that Perry showed up disguised as the skate serviceman. The young lady didn't realize that that it had been cancelled, and so let him in. And Gerardo, being a regular here, has a special set of skates that are his, that he always gets when he comes in. So sabotaging those was was easy, knowing that only he would be wearing them.
Yes.
And then it was only a matter of time before Gerardo came here to get his mind off what Perry was doing, and the catastrophic sabotage occurred. He flipped over the barriers and died in the fall. Now, whether that was what Perry intended, I think certainly there was reckless indifference.
Yeah, for sure. But and we get like Sandra's hinting like somebody knew that Gerardo was being an informant for something, and maybe even if it's not Perry, maybe it's like there's someone who's sort of pushing him to act. Maybe there's someone above him that we're now hinting at in our overarching narrative.
Dum dum dum. And indeed,
there's something rotten in the state of Nevada.
That's right.
Ooh, yes.
Who could have thought that a state with has a huge income from gambling would have ties to organized crime? We also have a final pre-credits scene where the B plot resolves, where Lawrence realizes those lessons that he learned in the poison and does something to show that he's learned that lesson, perhaps.
Yeah, so I guess he's realized that his action wasn't directly on him, but he managed to do more by stealing phones and quietly having a look through them and tinkering, instead of just randomly trying to grab the camera and put all the focus on himself. And he's sort of starting to realize that what he's doing here with Jack is about more than just making feel, having a bit of fun and being the center of attention all the time, that you might actually be able to help a bit, and that's actually a good, valuable thing he can do. And his lack of ethics and physical or social barriers lets him cross lines she's not quite able to cross. So he'll thank her for setting him on the right path and promise to only be weird when it's most helpful instead of least helpful.
Very nice. Maybe you can even have a roller skate together. Or is that getting too far? We're not there yet.
I think that Lawrence puts on the roller skates and goes across Jacqueline's doing a panning shot, and he's just keeping pace with it, doing some exaggerated roller skating moves.
Yeah, like he doesn't
And-
have the skill or grace to do a pirouette, but that's not going to stop him from trying.
And the music comes up. We're in Xanadu.
Nice.
Oh.
Very nice. All right. So, Perry the pimp has gone down for getting his revenge on his client, who just had the temerity to want to be a regular person, to escape, perhaps, to a moment to his private Xanadu. And thankfully, you guys were here to solve the murder, and we'll join them for another episode as these two become better friends and learn more and more about each other, and learn that the true mysteries were the friends we met along the way, or something. All right, I will end our episode there. Thank you once again to Peter and Ryan for being our amazing partners, and please join us next week for another episode of Expose.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you all for listening.